This is Nightly Business Report with Tyler Matheson and Sue Herrera.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this special edition of Nightly Business Report. I'm Tyler Matheson.
And I'm Sue Herrera. And tonight we are going to take a close look at jobs in America. It has been the focus of President Obama since he took office 8 years ago. It's been the target of President-elect Trump as he prepares to enter the White House. It is something that Main Street wants more of, that Wall Street obsesses over, and that the Federal Reserve bases their policy decisions on. And as we all know, in this past election, the uneven nature of the labor market recovery was a top issue for voters.
Well, if you look at the numbers, the labor market today appears solid. More than 11 million jobs have been created over the past 8 years. The most recent employment report showed that at the end of 2016, the unemployment rate was 4.7%. That was the lowest level to end a year in a decade, and less than half of the roughly 10% peak in 2009. Wages rose at their fastest clip since the Great Recession last year, something American workers have been waiting a long time for. December 2016 also marked the 75th straight month of job creation, the longest streak in the 78 years that labor figures have been reported. And the number of Americans quitting their jobs is rising. That's generally seen as a sign that workers are confident they can find a new, even better paying job quickly.
While the numbers look good, not every American is benefiting. Job growth has been concentrated in some industries more than others, and in some parts of the country more than in others, in part because economies naturally evolve, and also because the development of new technologies. So we decided to look at not just the quantity, but the quality of those newly created positions.
The nation's employment picture has improved, but measuring improvement isn't always easy.
Yes, our progress has been uneven. And the good news is that today the economy is growing again. Wages, incomes, home values, and retirement accounts are all rising again.
The Department of Labor says we added more than 2 million jobs last year. How good, though, are those new jobs? The average national wage rose almost 3% last year, hitting $26 last month. But many new hires aren't making that much. When the economy is performing reasonably well, Haver Analytics says most new hires, nearly 60%, are paid above average. You can see the dip there in 2010, followed by a recovery. In 2014, only 40% of new hires topped the average wage. That number bounced back in 2015. In 2016, though, the Department of Labor says hiring in the best-paying sectors, utilities and information, was flat. The next highest payer, the financial sector, added 159,000 jobs last year. But that sector still counts 45,000 fewer employees than it did when it peaked in 2006. Professional and business services is the only high-paying sector to add a substantial number of jobs, more than 500,000. Construction jobs pay above average, but added only 100,000 jobs. Mining and logging, which includes oil and natural gas, was down in December and is still down, way down, off by 26% since September of 2014. And the manufacturing sector lost workers for the year. So who is getting hired? The answer is a good number of people making less than $26 an hour. Health services and private education workers who make just under $26 an hour added almost 600,000 employees. And leisure and hospitality workers who make significantly less than $26 an hour count 295,000 new workers. That's almost 900,000 jobs paying less than the current average wage.
Challenges do remain. The economy is growing more slowly than in past recoveries.
Too many of our families in inner cities and in rural counties have been left behind.
Critics worry about workforce participation near a 4-decade low, less than 63%, due in part to huge numbers of baby boomers retiring, but also due in part to people opting not to look for work. They're doing so even as employers post record numbers of job openings and complain about a lack of qualified workers.
So the question is, can we close the skills gap in the talent pool? And if we can we do it fast enough to keep up with the number of jobs that we're losing to automation?
So while questions about the job market do remain, President-elect Trump has made a big promise to boost hiring.
Over the next 10 years, our economic team estimates that under our plan, the economy will average 3.5% growth and create a total of 25 million new jobs.
But is that even possible as workplaces do become more automated and the very nature of work changes pretty dramatically? Robert Solomon is the professor of management at New York University Stern School of Business, and he joins us now to talk about that. Welcome back, Professor. Nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
That is the question. Can we create the jobs in those numbers, given the changing dynamic in the workplace right now?
I think it'll be exceedingly difficult to hit the 25 million jobs number. If we look at the Clinton administration, under which the most jobs under any president since FDR were created, under the Clinton administration, 20 million or nearly 20 million jobs were created. In order for Trump to create 25 million jobs, a lot will have to go absolutely perfectly.
So what's a reasonable number, do you think, in this mature economy right now with unemployment at 4.7% for job growth going forward?
That's a good question. I think the main thing is to try to encourage those people who have dropped out of the labor force to rejoin the labor force. And as the economy grows, that will continue to happen. I think that some of the tax policies that the Trump administration is looking to put through could also help growth increase. But I do not see a huge productivity boom that would lead to any kind of gain like 25 million. And one of the things that's working against us is that over the next 5 years, people of prime working age between 25 and 54 years old, that number will actually go down. So it will be very, very hard to hit a 25 million number over the next 4 to 8 years.
What about the skill set of American workers in general? Are you one who is as worried as others are that the rise of automation has really changed the dynamic in the workforce, and that those workers who have lost their jobs are not trained for the new type of jobs that are being created?
I do agree that there is something of a skills mismatch between the jobs that are available right now in the economy in which we live and the economy of tomorrow, which I refer to as something of a digital age or a digital economy, versus the kinds of skills that people have and are equipped for in the economy of yesterday, which was an industrial economy. Mm-hmm. So as we move from an industrial age into a digital age, we're finding that it's very, very difficult to get people equipped for this new reality.
Quick answer, please, to what I know is a hard question. What is the single most constructive thing the incoming administration could do to amp up job growth and get the economy growing at a higher plateau?
Well, I think that their aim will be to do that through tax reductions. That will be the main way to do it. I also think job retraining for those folks who are equipped only for the industrial kind of economy, to retrain them for the skills that they'll need to be employed in the digital economy.
You know, we have just about 30 seconds left. Is there a risk that the new administration has very ambitious goals and certainly a very ambitious agenda, but that the workforce that is out there that is hoping that these new jobs will be created and then they are not or could not be created?
Yeah, I think that this administration looks at manufacturing as the key to reemploying those people. Unfortunately, just because we retain or keep or prevent manufacturing from leaving the United States, it does not follow that manufacturing jobs will be created, because there is so much more automation now.
Right. Professor, always a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Professor Robert Solomon with New York's University Stern School of Business.
And still ahead, one place where there are not enough workers is on America's farms, and it is forcing some farmers to do what they've never done before.
As we've reported, U.S. businesses have added millions of jobs since the Great Recession. In fact, there are more than 5.5 million job openings across the country, a near record level. But there's one industry that is experiencing a labor shortage, and it is agriculture. And now some farmers are worried that Donald Trump's immigration policies could make that problem even worse. Aditi Roy reports from Gilroy, California.
This here is 70 acres.
Pete Aiello and his dad have been farming for 40 years on their 5,000-acre operation based in Northern California. But lately, they've had a growing problem.
We're leaving some crop behind. We're not able to keep up with harvest.
The Aiellos don't have enough workers to harvest their crops. They're not alone. Across the country, farmers are facing a labor shortage that some are calling a crisis.
Of course, it's a financial burden. You have to make difficult decisions sometimes as far as having 2 fields to harvest, but only being able to harvest one of them.
Partnership for a New American Economy, a bipartisan immigration reform group, reports between 2002 and 2014, the number of full-time agricultural workers has dropped by 146,000 people, resulting in a loss of about $3 billion in crop production. And the American Farm Bureau Federation has come out with videos showing farmers forced to destroy crops or let them rot in the fields because they simply don't have enough workers to pick them.
Last year I had to do something I'd never done before. Destroy 10 acres of good squash.
And now some farmers are worried the problem will get even worse if Donald Trump makes good on his campaign promise to deport undocumented workers.
We are going to triple the number of ICE deportation officers.
More than half of the country's agricultural workers are undocumented, according to the USDA. The American Farm Bureau estimates an immigration policy that focuses solely on enforcement could cost the country $60 billion in agricultural production.
We are at the point in the industry that we're either importing our labor or we're importing our food. And farmers and ranchers across America want to provide this locally grown fruits and vegetables to our consumers, but we have to have access to a legal and stable workforce to get that done.
Pete Aiello calls the current immigration system broken. He says he's watching and waiting to see if Trump can fix it.
We need to come up with a system that works first and then secure borders.
On the solution side, the American Farm Bureau says the current temporary guest worker program, the H-2A visa program, is full of bureaucratic challenges and delays. The group believes any effective immigration policy needs to reform that system. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Aditi Roy, Gilroy, California.
Not only are farmers looking for workers, but so is the U.S. Border Patrol. Kate Rogers is in Artesia, New Mexico, to show you why the agency is having a tough time finding recruits.
If you're looking for a challenging career and have a desire to serve and protect, look to the nation's borders. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency is actively recruiting.
We're looking for men and women that really have an innate set of core values, of honesty, of integrity, of dedication, of respect.
The agency needs to bring on around 1,700 new Border Patrol agents in the near future to help protect 6,000 miles of the country's land border and more than 300 ports of entry. However, many job applicants don't make it past the initial screening process.
It's hard to get in. We expect a lot out of you. For every 175 that apply, one Border Patrol agent gets hired.
Among the agency's other challenges in recruiting and retaining, the job is dangerous and often requires agents to deal with harsh terrain and weather conditions and relocate to remote areas.
Generally, we're not in major metropolitan cities, and that can be a negative aspect for some folks, but I think that the mission that we have outweighs that.
New agents like 23-year-old Jose Ramirez attend the training academy in Artesia, New Mexico for roughly 4 months. They're recruited from different backgrounds, and prior law enforcement experience isn't necessary. For Ramirez, it's a chance to serve the country and continue the legacy of his older brother, who died in the line of duty.
Being here at the academy is a challenge, but I know that every step and everywhere I am, I know my brother's footsteps were there. So every time I come to a struggle or anything, I think of them. It helps me get through.
Trainees get full board and their pay begins at around $50,000 a year, but the training process is rigorous. I spent the day at the Border Patrol Academy to find out what it takes to prepare for the dangers and complexities of becoming a Border Patrol agent.
New agents learn the law and how to process legal and undocumented border crossers. They practice arrest techniques and go through demanding fitness training. They learn Spanish to be fluent by the time they graduate, and train driving off-road to be ready for the southern border's harsh terrain.
Have a big pit there.
They also get combat training.
Yep, extend the right hand to the neck. Yeah, give it to him. Give it to him. Harder, 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 harder. Now throw him. Now throw him.
And have to be ready to fight in the dark.
Got the arm. Got it. There you go. Deliver. Good, good, good. Now throw him to your right. Throw him to your right. Step back. Excellent.
Water safety is also a must, including climbing Jacob's ladder,
You can do it. You're right there.
dangling 25 feet in the air, and being ready to take the plunge. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Kate Rogers in Artesia, New Mexico.
Coming up, small business owners drive job creation, and there's one entrepreneur who's helping his peers hire even more.
Here's a look at what to watch this week. A lot of Dow components report earnings. These are really critical numbers coming out, including United Healthcare, Goldman Sachs, IBM, American Express, and GE. The Federal Reserve releases its aptly titled Beige Book, an anecdotal but really interesting look at the economy across the country. And on Friday, Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 45th President of the United States, and that is what to watch this week.
Small businesses are really the backbone of the economy, and they often drive job creation. All of their ventures start with a bright idea and are often built around an entrepreneur's own skill. Take military vet Chris Nolte, for instance. He came home from the Middle East with a debilitating back injury. His desire, though, to get active and get back in shape, along with his multitasking and problem-solving skills, helped him find electric bicycles. And now, as Bill Griffith tells us, he's staking a claim in this niche but fast-growing market.
Before he found electric bikes, back pain limited Chris Nolte's ability to exercise, to work, indeed to live life. He hurt his back while serving in the military.
I grew up very quickly in the military. You know, I went in at 19 years old. I was overseas at 20, 21.
In 2000, Nolte joined the Army Reserve. He operated fuel supply trucks. A truck landed in a ditch in Kuwait only days before the start of the Iraq War in 2003. And despite hurting his back, Nolte stayed on 4 more months before coming home to Long Island.
I was very concerned when I returned about what my future is going to look like.
Physical labor was not an option. By 2006, he was helping a family friend put his luggage sales business online. He was immersed in e-commerce when, in 2011, he discovered electric bikes, online, of course. Nolte converted his own bike and got the push he needed to get back on the road.
I didn't need to focus on where I was limited with my physical abilities, and I just kept on learning.
He learned that 180 million electric-powered bikes and scooters are on the roads in China. Many use motorcycle-like throttles. But now, pedal assist bikes are becoming more popular. The motor is engaged only when the rider pedals. Bosch e-bike systems makes drive mechanisms used by many popular bike brands. The CEO recently said that 1 out of every 3 bikes sold in the Netherlands is electric. In Germany, more than 1 in every 5 new sales are e-bikes. But here in the U.S., it is barely more than 1 out of 100. Sensing an opening, Chris Nolte began selling e-bikes online in 2011.
Our first year, we did about $50,000 in business, and then we were pretty much tripling for every year after that in size. Up until 2014, we hit $1 million in sales.
Nolte says 2016 will be his 3rd year in a row with sales of at least $1 million. Last year, he opened a retail shop in Brooklyn, New York. Most of his bikes sell in the $2,500 to $4,000 range. Baby boomers looking for help exercising or just getting around are natural customers. But Nolte says millennials are buying in too.
I don't have to deal with parking. I just pull it right into my living room at night.
Tyler Glass paid about $3,500 for an e-bike that he uses to travel 10 to 20 miles in New York City pretty much every day.
And I fell in love the second I rode one.
For the business to thrive, Nolte knows the American mindset will have to embrace the idea of using bikes for transportation, not just for recreation and exercise.
We're kind of building something for the future as bike infrastructure improves.
New York City, which has become more bike-friendly, is the only city in New York State where pedal-assisted bikes are street legal. Across the country, regulations are murky, but Nolte, ever the transportation specialist, is confident that that will change.
I don't see it as just a small percentage of the bike market overall. I see it a percentage of just people that need to move. And really that's kind of what our tagline is changing the way we move.
For Nightly Business Report, I'm Bill Griffith.
Bike sales in Europe have been flat for more than a decade, except when it comes to electric bikes. Chris Nolte believes that there will be a lot of opportunity to scale up if laws pertaining to electric bikes become more uniform across this country.
Entrepreneurs can come from anywhere and do basically anything, but you might wonder what an electrician knows about running a company. Some know quite a bit, others not so much. That's why a New Jersey electrician who once said there's got to be a better way and then figured it out got the bright idea to share his knowledge, for a price, of course. The way he sees it, he's helping others create more jobs than he could ever create on his own.
That's a big deal.
Mike Agliaro can get a charge out of people. And no wonder. At age 19, he became a full-time electrician. 3 years later, he and a partner started Gold Medal Electrical Contracting in central New Jersey. They worked long hours, did everything themselves, but like so many small business owners, they did little else.
We got so burnt out that my partner came to me one morning and he said, Mike, I'm done.
In 2004, after 11 years, it was either unplug the business or find a better way. So they invested heavily to learn how to actually run a serious business.
We spent over $800,000 on training the very best we can find.
They started reading. They went to Disney to learn about corporate culture, Zappos to become more efficient. But one thing stuck out.
Everything's marketing, and marketing is everything.
The simplest of tweaks helped turn their business and their lives around.
I did some study and I found out, well, yellow is the first color the eye sees. So I was like, let's have yellow trucks. Nobody had yellow trucks out there. And people were telling us, I see you everywhere. I was like, everywhere? We had like 3 trucks. I was like, okay, we're on to something big right now.
Very big. In a few years, Gold Medal added plumbing, heating, and cooling services. Now, with 145 trucks and 190 employees, Gold Medal is on track to hit $32 million in sales this year. He's only in the office about 2 or 3 times a week now, but he's still busy because other service company owners started asking how he did it. That's when he realized his knowledge, his experience, might be more valuable to them even than it is to him.
Nobody's really stepping in and really serving these people. So I said, why don't we go out there and let's just change lives for anybody in any type of service business.
It was the germ of what would become a multi-million-dollar idea. Phone calls and Facebook posts grew into a full-blown consulting business in 2013. 1 year in, another marketing change, a new name for the consultancy, CEO Warrior.
Ka-ching trend.
Annual sales, more than $3 million. Eric Corbett became a Warrior 3 years ago. He was about to buy his brother out and take over the Maryland plumbing business their father started in 1960. He signed up for a 4-day Warrior event.
Yes!
We were pretty average at that point. And we said, you know what? We don't want to be average.
Leadership 5 times a year, Agliaro hosts these events, drawing 100 or so service-oriented companies that pay about $7,500 each. Corbett later upgraded to the Warrior Fast Track. That stepped-up tier costs $36,000, but gets you full-time access to Agliaro's business improvement team, first-hand looks inside Gold Medal, even a taste of martial arts, a longtime Agliaro passion. There are about 95 fast trackers like Corbett. In 3 years, his business has grown from 22 employees to 30. Revenues are up from less than $4 million a year to more than $4.5.
We're really healthy as a company, and we're positioned to have some really great growth here moving forward.
That's the kind of rewiring Mike Agliaro likes.
Why do I exist on this planet? And it's not to be an electrician. It was never to be that. I knew there was a bigger part in it, and this is the bigger why for me, change lives.
Agliaro has also written 4 books, and he's beginning to invest in commercial real estate, following the advice he found himself giving to other CEOs to manage and protect their wealth by diversifying their business interests.
Good for him.
Cool,
Best
cool
of
story.
luck to him. It is. Thank you so much for watching this edition of Nightly Business Report. I'm Sue Herrera.
And I'm Tyler Mathisen. Have a great evening, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow.